Two guys either side of 50 with one dream to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Pilgrims, we're back. We are back. Episode number 25. After an incredible episode 24, Andy Walker with the great man John Weir talking about all things mental golf type. I listened to it again today, warped the brain yet further. But what a fantastic discussion that was. Thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. I think I mentioned last week he's certainly an innovator within the mental golf space. I've been working my way through my mental golf type and the program. I've pretty much finished level one,
Nice.
which is really interesting. So I've been through all my different areas of mental golf type. So I've got a bit of an understanding of each one. It certainly helped me at different times as well, which I'm sure we're going to get to throughout the episode.
A little bit of an update on some rounds, yes. Level
Yeah,
one, Andy Walker, does that place you, do you think, at Padawan level or Jedi Master?
definitely not Jedi Master. Definitely not Jedi Master, and I think that'll come to light pretty quickly.
Feel like you're still
Um,
there on the Millennium Falcon with the like the grill down,
yeah,
trying to wield the lightsaber blind,
yeah,
reaching out to your feelings.
yes, yes,
Andy
yes,
Skywalker.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow,
It's
didn't think we were going to go in that direction this early in the show, but
no,
that's
no,
okay.
definitely haven't got to see Yoda yet.
Fair enough. But no, fantastic episode. Funnily enough, I was listening to it this morning, listening to John talk about the power gesture.
Mm,
Your power move or your power gesture, like
yep.
maybe it's a bit of a fist pump or a reach for the sky or whatever it may be. I was in a work meeting yesterday and busted out some power gestures when I thought I'd made a good point.
Excellent.
Don't know
So
how well that
was it an
went, but
online meeting or was it
no, it
in
was in
person?
person. So, like dropped a truth bomb and then got
Yeah,
up in a big, lawnmower chainsaw kind of
yeah, right.
action.
Okay.
Yeah. I was asked to leave. Um,
Surprisingly, I don't necessarily think that John's talking about corporate environment when he was talking about the power move.
well, I mean, I thought we've made it clear at the end of that interview that a lot of this information was quite transferable from for the golf course to the boardroom and certainly to relationships and family life. I'm not sure what situations you might want to bring out the power gesture in family life, but we'll leave that to the imagination, perhaps.
So when you're having a like discussion with the other half,
Let's call it a discussion. Yeah.
you feel as though the power move is a
Yeah.
good one to pull out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just,
Well, let me know how it works.
I want you to try that. Oh, wow. Out of context. Some of our best. Nevertheless, we are here for another episode. There's quite a bit to get through tonight, Andy Walker.
There is.
We need to bring the Pilgrims up to date with what's happening with the leaderboard because
Yes.
there's been some movement. Obviously, March has been played and won, so there's a bit to update there. We need to talk a bit about both of us have had a competition round already in
Mm,
April, which is
we have.
potentially unexpected, but that has happened. So there's a bit to cover there, a bit of a discovery that you've made as well with some some more tournaments possibly that
Yes.
could be on the horizon.
Yeah. Very exciting.
But before we get into that, Voice of the Pilgrims, Andy Walker is a very important segment. We didn't do it last time
No,
because
we didn't.
of the interview with John, but I think it's important that we open the floor for the Voice of the Pilgrims. What have you got?
Oh, look, I've only got one pilgrim that sent a message through, very short, very to the point.
Okay.
Again, Ted from Mollymook.
Love Ted from
Um,
Mollymook, fan
yeah,
of the
that's
show.
that that tends to be his style. Very, very direct, very short.
Mm. Mm.
Coming back to the goal setting that we'd talking about
Oh, it's still on that. Yeah. Okay.
a number of weeks ago. So
Yeah.
um, what he's written, and he's actually in capitals goals. So he's
Oh, shouting.
he's shouting. Write them
Calm
down.
down. Calm down, Ted. Stop
Yeah.
shouting. Yeah.
So he's got goals, dash. Write
Yes.
them down, dash.
Yeah.
Are they measurable? Question mark.
Right.
Then, if you're going to pussyfoot around, don't pretend you are setting goals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
I
don't even know what to do with that.
That's
That's
just a short jab.
that's a jab straight to the jaw, is
Yeah.
what that is. If
So
you're gonna
how do you
pussyfoot around,
yeah. Do you
don't.
feel as though that's what you're doing? You're pussyfooting around?
Do you think that's directed at me? Do you?
Well, yeah, I mean you were the one who was sort of talking about sort of, the goals and,
I feel like we
didn't make
both
them
were. I
measurable and
think we both were.
stuff,
I think we were both saying it. I don't. In fairness, I don't think we ever actually disagreed with Ted.
Yeah, yeah. Look, and look, I'm not. I would mention that I didn't think that we'd certainly hadn't put any sort of time frame or measurement on
Mm,
those goals. It was very much just a conversation that, oh
yeah,
yeah, that sounds pretty good. I mean, in the first couple of episodes, we talked about some of the strokes gained goals
we
that
did.
we were that we had, but that was a conversation, and I can't say I ever wrote it down. So
Is writing it down, is that much different to recording it verbally and then putting it out publicly to the entire world via the internet and podcasting services? I mean, like if we have published said goals, um, is that any less powerful than physically writing them down?
well, yeah, I think it is because writing down goals, because the goals, your own goals are obviously meant for you to achieve. So if you're physically writing it down, and I believe that there's quite a big difference between just talking about it and having it in the back of your head, whether you're recording it or not, and actually putting pen to paper and writing something down.
Yes.
I believe there's a pretty big
Is it like some
difference.
cognitive connection here? Is that
Yeah, yeah.
need to
So
investigate
I
that?
certainly think that, yeah, we've talked about it a lot, and yeah, we've put it out there. But it's probably, maybe not quite as grounded, I guess, as what
Mm.
writing it down and having it on a bit of paper or, in front of you so you can regularly read and review.
What about a tattoo, Andy Walker?
Yeah, I mean, you could go down that line of a tattoo. There, you wouldn't have been the first
Right.
that
Is that more
has
powerful?
got a tat, but yeah, not my style. I'm not a
Oh,
tat guy.
curious how Ted from Mollymook feels about that, whether or not that's enough commitment for him.
I don't think Ted from Mollymook's a tat guy.
No, I don't think so either. But we don't know.
No, we
I've
don't.
got little doubt that we'll find out about that in ensuing episodes of the Voice of the Pilgrims.
I'm sure.
I mean, look, fair enough. I would say, I would say, don't disagree with your message, Ted. Maybe ease up on the shouting. No one likes being shouted at, to be honest. But that's fine if that's the way you want to approach things, and that's totally fine. Or is it? Uh, but writing it down, We'll write some goals down, Andy Walker. That's homework for this week, and I
Yeah.
think we'll write it. We'll hand write it on bits of paper. We'll take photos of the bits of paper and put it on our various social media channels. How do you feel
Okay.
about that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy with that.
Wow. Okay. Nice
So,
work.
but a very strong voice. Only
Yeah.
one, short and sweet, but very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight to the point.
This week.
Very
Yeah.
loud voice. Very loud voice of the Pilgrims there. Anyway, good start. Good start. So next on the agenda, though, is the Missing Links Golf Show Annual Championship Leaderboard.
Yes.
Andy Walker, some information that we've got to share, which is the
Mm.
March result.
I'm feeling pretty confident about March.
So you had 3 rounds in March. I'm looking at the leaderboard here.
Yeah. I mean, I can honestly say I don't remember the last time I had 3 comp rounds in a month. So
Oh,
certainly
it hasn't been this
well,
year.
yeah, well ahead of where I've been in recent times.
In fairness, one of them was on the 30th and the other was on the 31st of the month. So you spent a good
It's
portion
still in
of
the
the
month.
month. If it was
Doesn't matter.
February, it wouldn't have been.
It's March.
But it was March. So on the 30th of March, with a handicap index of 4.0, you had a gross differential of 10.6, which is a net differential of minus 6.6. Andy Walker, that is a differential percentage of minus 165%.
Wow.
Good description. On the 31st of March, you were playing off a handicap index of 4.0 with gross differential of 7.1. That's a net differential of minus 3.1 for a percentage differential of minus 78%.
Mm. Yeah, the two Met Cup rounds weren't my best.
No. Interestingly, on those same dates, on the 30th of March, I was playing off 9.0 and had a gross differential of 12.4, which was a net differential of minus 3.4, which was minus 38%.
Hmm. Well, it's better than either of mine.
It is closely followed then on the 31st of March, playing off a 9.5 index as a flag round dropped out with a gross differential of 7.1. That's a net differential positive of 2.4, which is a differential percentage of 25%.
Mhm.
It's pretty
Wow.
good.
Okay. That's pretty good. I mean, positive. You must be pretty happy with
Positive.
that.
Positive is good. Interesting to note, there haven't been a huge amount of positive percentage differentials from either of us this calendar year.
No.
There's been a few, but not a huge amount. It's not easy to do. But then that brings us to a round of golf, Andy Walker, that you played on the 26th of March.
Yes.
Geez, not only did you have 3 in a month, you had 3 in 5 days.
Yes.
On the 26th of March, when you were playing off a handicap index of 4.6 with a gross differential of 1.6, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, now I can't hear myself. I'm going to have to cut this out, but I've got no idea what's going on with that.
I can hear.
Cannot. That's okay. We'll move on with our lives. On the 26th of March, playing off 4.6, you had a gross differential of 1.6, which is a net differential of 3. And Andy Walker, that is a differential percentage of 65%.
And we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen.
We do, which takes that tally after winning February to Andy Walker on 6 points and Stevie Hinks on 3 points, which
Mm.
is, let's just say, a little bit disappointing.
See, I don't see it that way, surprisingly.
I do.
It's
I
two
most,
2 months in a row. So, I mean, that's got to put the pressure straight back
I'm not sure
in
that
your lap.
that's, I don't know that that's how I would describe it, but anyway, it's something.
Well, I think maybe by the end of the show, we may be having a different discussion than that,
We
just
might,
quietly.
we might, we might. Hard to say. Hard to say. Nevertheless, we move on. Um, so, comp rounds in April.
Yes. Mm.
Andy Walker, have you had one?
Yes. Yes, I did have a comp round on the 9th of April, back at my local club again.
Mm.
Uh, I didn't have a particularly enjoyable ball striking, well, 2 rounds, not just a round, 2 rounds in the Macquarie Cup. So I did put a little bit of work in to my swing in the high performance center. So yeah, I then went out on the 9th of April to play in the local comp.
Well, how are you feeling before the round, Andy Walker?
I did actually detail my thoughts in a
Oh,
little recording
this is exciting. Should
prior
we
to the
go to
round.
that? Should we go to that now? Should we go back in time and see how Andy Walker was feeling before the round?
Let's do that.
All right, let's strap yourselves in, Pilgrims. Here we go.
So here I am. I've just completed my warm up, my first competition round since the Macquarie Cup. Feeling pretty good. I've spent some time in the high performance center. I felt like my ball striking was pretty ordinary in the Macquarie Cup. So yeah, spent some time just working through some of the issues that I had. And look, I feel pretty good. I've had a good warm up. I am going to go back to just hitting my driving iron off the tee as I did a few weeks back. So yeah, I feel as though my driver and fairway, I just don't have a lot of confidence in it. And yeah, that came out in the Macquarie Cup, which yeah, I think it was like 3 out of 13 fairways that I hit, as opposed to the 8 out of 13 that I hit a couple of weeks ago when I played at my home club. So yeah, that's my strategy. Going back to what works. Feel pretty good. Feel like I've worked through some of the issues, and we'll yeah, see how we go throughout the day.
Very interesting, Andy Walker.
Yes.
Anything that you want to add to that little summary?
No, look, that's a pretty good summary of where I was at the time. As I said, like my driver and fairway just zero confidence
Mm,
in those two clubs. And I mean, that's, we started a few weeks back when I just went, you know what, I'm just not even going to hit them off the tee. So look, I still hit my three driving iron, around about sort of 210 to the 215 meters. So I playing off the front markers, and that doesn't work in when you're playing tournament conditions from the back markers, but certainly when you're playing in the local club comp off the forward tees, you know, that's, more than sufficient to be able to put yourself in position to be able to make a score. And yeah, I just, as I said, I've just lost confidence in the driver and three wood. And whether that's to do with the actual clubs itself or whether that's a technical issue, I'm not quite sure.
yeah,
Something to investigate a little bit further.
absolutely. So I suppose with that in mind, maybe talk us through the round and how did things transpire?
Well, surprisingly, I also recorded a post round
Oh,
thoughts, which we have now on file. So I reckon maybe we should flick across to that and hear my
yeah.
thoughts post round, and then we're gonna have a bit of a chat about it.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. Here we go. AW post round. What did he have to say for himself?
Okay, a bit of post round analysis. I'm sitting here in my car after the comp round today. A lot of really good things. I actually had a really hot start. I started birdie, par, birdie, birdie, birdie. So I was 4 under after five. And I mean, it's been a long time since I've got to 4 under. Not sure if I've ever been 4 under after five, but I felt okay. I was putting into practice some of the strategies from the mental golf type that I've been learning. However, I didn't finish the front nine that well. I bogeyed six, bogeyed seven, part eight, and bogeyed nine. So 1 under after nine. I parred 10 and 11. I birdied 12. So I'm 2 under with six to play. And it was pretty similar to my round a few weeks ago. 13, par. 14, made a nice birdie. So 3 under with 4 to play. And again, pretty uncomfortable, pretty tough finishing holes at my home club, and it was actually back into the wind. And I did finish bogey, bogey, par, bogey. So let it slip, got back to even par, but still pretty happy all in all, taking a lot of positives out of the day. And again, to get to 4 under, that was pretty early, but to maintain that and get back to 3 under through 14, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I just need to put myself into that position more often. Need to get those miles under the legs of as we've been talking about. And I'm pretty positive about where my game is. Certainly after the Macquarie Cup, I don't feel as though the Macquarie Cup was my best golf, but look, lots of good things to look forward to, and yeah, pretty pumped for the next couple of months. So yeah, let's get on it.
My sweet Lord, Andy Walker, even par round of golf.
Yes, yeah, it's been
Congratulations.
been a long time since I've
That's,
shot, and
I feel like we need
it.
some kind of celebration here.
Look, and it's interesting because I mean at the time I was looking at it pretty positively, and we're trying to promote feelings of acceptance, and look, at the end of the day I was still playing off five, not anymore, but I was playing off five, and
It's
I've got to
remarkable.
accept that as a five marker, I'm going to be making bogeys,
Mm.
So at some stage throughout the round, I'm going to be making bogeys. But to get to well, I got to 4 under after five, but to maintain that and to be 3 under through 14, it's it's really good, but I'm a bit disappointed I didn't shoot under par. That sort
See,
of it's been 25 years or more since I've shot. Well, it's been 25 years or more since I've shot even par, but subpar, to break that par barrier is just, yeah. I feel like I'm just on the edge.
I didn't really want to focus on that, but it was in the back of my mind that you
Mm,
were, a few under with a few holes to go.
yeah.
Um, Smidge of disappointment I can understand, but even par
Mm.
round of golf, Andy Walker, you got to be thrilled about that.
Yeah, yeah, I am absolutely 100%, and I'm quite happy with where my game is heading.
Mm, mm. The
The
velocity
big
of your game at
the
the moment
velocity of
is
my game, exactly. I mean
excellent.
the big question mark, and that sort of voice in the back of your head is my
Mm.
driver and fairway. That's the thing that's really got me a bit concerned at the moment, because it's all well and good from the front tees to be able to hit a driving iron off the tee and still be able to make a score, but when you start, and as you know, we're wanting to play in tournament
Yep,
conditions.
yep, yep.
So my big thing at the moment, and where my main concern is what's going on with my driver and three wood. Is it the fact that they're obsolete clubs and they just don't suit where I am, or
Yes.
is it something a bit more technical than that? Is there something in my swing which I'm not I'm just yeah, I'm not able to get those or get any consistency with those two clubs.
We could do a montage of the number of times during the Missing Links Golf Show's previous episodes that I have told you that you need to get a driver fitting.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I don't disagree with it. It's something that I've
I
put a
feel
fair
like you
bit
do because otherwise you would have done it.
of maybe I'm still a bit resistant to it. I don't know, but
I don't know. I thought that was my job.
yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that sometimes I go, yeah, you know what? I really need it.
Mm.
But then there are other times where I sit back and I go, no, I can find an answer to it. I can fix this. I'm a fixer. So it's I feel as though I should be able to find an answer with my current clubs, and I don't want to. and the old sort of saying, a bad tradesman always blames their tools. I do believe that to a certain extent, but there
To
comes
an
a time
extent. But I think,
when the tools are so old that yeah,
yeah,
they don't really work anymore.
when was the last time that you saw a really good tradesman with really ordinary tools?
Yeah, yeah, you don't.
Yeah. And so it's,
So
whilst you
yeah,
may not blame the tools, and we're not suggesting that, but the tools may be making it harder than it needs to be
yeah,
to control. And let's be honest, like shooting an even round of golf, an even par, sorry, round of golf, nobody's blaming the tools, but certainly if you're concerned about being able to hit a driver off the tee and fairway woods and those sorts of things, well, I think you've proven that you've got a game that can stand up. It's a good game. Like that's not an easy achievement what you've just
mm,
done.
yeah, yeah,
But to
and
take it to the next level, you need to be confident with your driver because your driver
yeah,
has to be a weapon. Has to be.
yeah, it does, and especially on the par fives because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, even Bryson DeChambeau would struggle to get to some of the par fives with an iron off the tee. So you get to a lot of them, but certainly
Mm.
myself, who is less than PGA Tour average swing speed, I'm going to struggle to attack par fives if I don't have my driver working.
Yeah.
So it's certainly a big thing that I need to be able to get it working, and B, I need some consistency with it. So I need some answers.
Mm. That's
But
exciting
look,
though.
yeah, but look, at the end of the day, if I look at my stats in the round, so from a strokes gain perspective, I actually had a strokes gained of 0.4. So it's my first round where I've actually gained had a positive strokes gained against a scratch marker, which I'm pretty
Pretty
excited
impressive.
about.
It's
So
very
if you break that
impressive.
down into the four different areas, so -1 for driving,
Mm.
plus 1.2 for approach play,
Mm.
plus point 0.5 from a short game. I was going to say 0.05 then, but I know there's one of our pilgrims is going to pick me up if I
I
say
feel like someone
0.05. So
someone may pick that one
zero
up.
point 0.5 from a short game. That's a plus 0.5, and was minus 0.2. And then if you go to fairways hit, 8 out of 13. So back to 8 out of 13 greens. So, contrast that to the Macquarie Cup of
Mm.
3 fairways out of 13 for both rounds. And then greens in regulation, 12 out of 18 greens. So I feel as though I'm back to, you know, things are back on track
Mm.
after the disappointment of the Mac Cup. But yeah, there's that voice in the back of my head that's
Voice.
going, you need to just sort that out, the driver and fairway.
And I think listen to the voice. Andy Walker, listen to the voice.
Mm.
Nevertheless, congratulations. First even par round of golf in the history of the Missing Links Golf Show. So definitely an achievement, something to be very, very proud of.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Mm. Mm.
Hard act
Which
to
which
follow.
leads us to your round of golf, I
Yeah,
think,
it does.
Mr. Hinks.
Hard act to follow, but some 4 days later, I had a comp round. And as a matter of fact, not only was it a comp round, it was the monthly medal. So it was a stroke
Ooh,
event.
okay.
And not only was it the monthly medal, it was round one of the club championships.
Okay. So was that like effectively tournament conditions? Did they set the course up
Yes,
similar to what
similar. Yep,
you would in a tournament?
yep, yep. So tees at the back,
Nice.
pins tucked,
Mm.
greens firm and fast. Rough,
Mm.
rough wasn't that long to be fair, but fairways were at least defined, so that was nice.
Yep.
But yeah, but I've got to say, beautiful day, spectacular day, great, great weather. My only sadness really is that I was not able to play. So I played on the Saturday. I was not able to play on the Sunday, and then of course the following weekend being round rounds 3 and 4 of the club championships. I've only played one round, so I'm out of the club championships because I can't commit to the 4 rounds.
Yep.
But nevertheless, played the first round, which was a monthly medal. And like you, Andy Walker, like you, I did a little bit of recording. So
Nice.
I did a little, busted out the mobile mic and had a
Yep.
little chat before the round. So rather than me set it up, why don't we cut to a few days ago, me to talk about how we were feeling.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's go there right now. Pilgrims, it's Saturday, a bit after midday. I'm at the course getting ready for a roughly 12:30 tee time. It's been a good warm up in the net. Feeling good. Haven't had a huge amount of practice this week, but nevertheless, swing is feeling good. Putts are rolling quite well on the practice green. So I think all things considered, feeling pretty positive. It's a big field today, though. There's a bit over 200 players monthly medal in round one of the club champs. So look, who knows how we're going to go. Could be a slow day out there, but it is a beautiful day. Course looks immaculate. Can't wait. Let's go. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped there, Mr. Hinks.
I was excited.
Mm. So was it a slow day?
Oh yeah.
12-ish, what, till 12:30 tee off time.
I actually think our tea time on the sheet was 12:38,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
our actual tea time, like when we
Teed
literally
off.
teed off,
Mm.
was closer to 10 past 1.
Ooh, that's not a good start.
No. Yeah, it was a massive field. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I could tell because when I drove into the car park, when I arrived at the club,
You
I
couldn't find one?
I couldn't find a parking spot.
Yeah.
Like it was literally that full.
Mm.
So you knew it was going to be a big day, which is great. It's so good. Like it's excellent to see. So it was exciting. So yeah, it was. Anyway, it was an interesting first nine.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
but unlike you, I did bust out the microphone between nines because
Oh,
let's be
wow.
honest, I had
Mid-round.
time. I had time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that. Yeah. Stroke round monthly medal from the
Oh,
plates.
mate,
Yeah. Time is not necessarily of the essence.
it was
It
brutal.
was plentiful.
Yeah, it was brutal. So if you like, we can get jump in the time machine and head back to after 9 holes and just see how things
Yeah.
are traveling. So
Yeah.
let's go.
Look forward to hearing it.
Let's go there right now. Right, so the first nine is done. Wow, that could have been anything in either direction. Started with a double after a reasonable drive that just got absolutely stymied behind a tree. Uh, birdie on 3, but then another double on 5. So, look, to be perfectly honest, to finish the front nine in 42 at 6 over par, still in with a fighting chance, but yeah, need a good back nine to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So I think that really says pretty much a lot. The first
Mm.
hole, honestly, Andy Walker, the first fairway it cambers left,
Yes.
smoked a drive, bounced in the fairway, and it's obviously rolled through. And there was one spindly little tree just
Yep.
standing there a couple of meters off the edge of the fairway. And the ball was hard up against the back of it.
Nice. Of course it
No,
was.
no choice but to go straight sideways to get back onto the fairway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and then took the hybrid out. I was about 205 to the center, so about 188 ish to the front edge. took the four hybrid out and squirted one into the trees on the left, exactly the same as round two
Mm.
of the Macquarie Cup. And again, dead, like under this overhanging kind of weeping willow style tree with other trees in front, and the bunker and then the green. So all I could do was just bunt a 7-iron to the greenside bunker and then try and get up and down, which I very, very nearly did. The putt just didn't quite drop. So yeah, starting with the double was disappointing, but the birdie at 3 was great. Got me back on track.
Tough
Um,
hole, that third hole.
it is. Hit a
Mm.
really good drive, hit an 8-iron to about 5 feet, and
Nice.
then knocked the putt in. Um, and then made bogey on 4, which is not a bad result. Four's a tough hole. It's long par 4, dogleg par, dogleg to the right. Um, the double on 5 was disappointing.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
after coming back with a birdie on 3,
yeah,
then to make a double a couple of holes later, yeah, oh,
yeah,
it's
that was disappointing. But again, it was one of those ones totally like poor shot, missed the green. But a bad bounce kind of took things around, bit of overhanging tree trouble and a bunker to try and keep a chip low, but over the bunker to stop on the green.
yep,
It's just, and with the green running away from you as well. It's just not possible. So anyway, so that was disappointing. Double, but it was good to finish. I then went par, bogey, par to finish. So that was good. Held it together. And as you heard, at the turn, kind of things we're not feeling too bad at that point. Could have been worse. Obviously, could have been a little bit better, but definitely could have been
mm,
worse. So
mm,
yeah. So moving into the second nine, I only had 3 shots to play with handicap wise. So I needed a good 9 to post a score.
yep,
But again, knowing stroke round, tough conditions, you don't really know what's going to happen to the course rating on the day for
yeah,
the gross differential. So you got to stay in the game, play every shot,
for sure.
hang in there. Big question is, Andy Walker, how did we go at the end of the 18?
Let me guess. You had some sort of post round thought recording.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Mm.
Do you
Well,
want to go to that? Should we
yeah,
should
let's
we
hear it.
get in the time machine? Where we
Yeah,
go?
let's do
All
it.
right. All right. Well, that's it, Pilgrims. That's 18 holes played, round 1 of the club championships, monthly medal, stroke round. Probably one of the slowest rounds of golf I think I've ever had. We teed off close to half an hour late, and things didn't speed up for the rest of the day. But nevertheless, it's been a fun day out, cracking day, beautiful weather, course is immaculate, greens were beautiful. And look, not a bad round of golf. Um, what did we finish? 82, 11 over par. Not a bad day. It's going to be interesting to see what the differential is on that, because that could end up being a flagged round. So that'll be an interesting one to look at when the scores get posted. But I've got to say as well, I was a bit nervous. 17, there was a double on 17, and memories of Macquarie Cup came flooding back, where I went double double to finish on the first day. But anyway, fortunately that didn't happen. But Andy Walker, I recommend that you ask me for a shot by shot retelling of what happened up 18. That was, yeah, that was a wild ride. But there you go, Pilgrims. Another one down, and yeah, good day out. Lots of fun. Mm,
Mm.
mm.
Look, at the end of the day, I mean, 82 is a good score.
I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I would have been pretty happy with that.
Mm. You would have been. Um,
So, 18, what's the go with 18 there? Sounds like there's a bit of a story there. I have to say, you sounded tired. You
mate,
sounded
I
actually
was.
drained.
I was. I was. It was.
Yeah, like you it just sounded like you were struggling to actually put
we
one word
teed
in front of the
off.
next.
We teed off like at about, as I said, a bit after 1 o'clock. But legitimately, when I was recording that, it felt like it was nearly 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, the 18th, you ask. The 18th, what happened up 18? So yeah, literally, I doubled 17, which look, it's one of those things that can happen. And basically because I'd actually pulled my drive right on 17 and then had to chip out from the trees. Tried to do a big hooky 5 wood actually, but ended up chipping out from the trees. Um, read into that what you will.
Nice.
Then missed the green and tried to get up and down and didn't quite work out. But then I was kind of going, oh, like honestly, don't go double double again. And then like good
It's
thought
it's it's
process.
not, yeah, not necessarily what I
Yeah,
would
but I
consider
didn't
to
carry that on. I
be
didn't carry that onto the tee box. That was just on the walk over
okay.
to the tee box. And I went, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. One shot at a time. Don't stay in the past. Don't go in the
Yeah.
future. Blah blah
Where's your
blah.
process, man?
Yeah, back to the process. So all good. So get on the 18th tee, par three, up the hill, heavily sloping green left to right. And it's around about 180 meters. So I pulled 5 iron, and I like I almost duck hooked a 5 iron,
Wow. Okay.
um, heavily right of the green.
Yep.
So far right of the green, it was under another one of these hanging trees, weeping willow style trees. Not a weeping willow, but like the branches that hang down. Like, I don't know what the tree's called, but like the branches kind of hang down like a big umbrella all the way to the
Yeah.
ground.
And look, I have to say, knowing the course a little bit and having hit both of my shots right of the
Right.
bunker and still,
Being open. So I
yeah.
was right of where you were, significantly right of there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and so dead,
Mm.
like honestly, so dead. To the extent that I was under this tree, so I had a stance reminiscent of the Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Mm.
and could barely even see the ball as I was trying to hit it. And then in front of me was another tree, and then the bunker, and then the green. So there was no shot. So what I had to do was actually hit the ball backwards, back towards the fairway, away from the green, towards the fairway to hopefully get out and give myself a shot to pitch onto the green.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm thinking four's a good score. From this point, four's a very good score.
Because you know that your thought process after 17 and going, don't finish double double. Your brain doesn't recognize the don't.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware, which is why I didn't carry that thought onto the tee box. We've been through that. So I thought four's a good score here. Let's get it back in play. Don't try and be too funky. Just get it back in play. So I did that. So I bunted it, 7 iron back out onto the. It's terrible when you're bunting your second shot to
Mm.
the fairway on a par three, but
Yeah.
that's what I was reduced to. So I successfully did that, and I was probably about, I don't know, about 20 meters short of the green at this point. Just took out the sandwich and stuck it straight in the hole, Andy Walker, for a miraculous par.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That was a
Oh,
nice finish. It was a good finish. Yeah.
just a regulation 3 finish.
Regulation three helps my putts for the round statistic.
Good one. Good one.
So yeah, I mean it was good, like an 82 in medal conditions. Um, I'm pretty happy with, to be perfectly honest. But interestingly, looking at the round, when you look at the stats, so from a when we break it down from a strokes gained perspective,
Yep.
with with the driver, and this is against a scratch handicapper because that's the game we're playing now. With the driver, I was losing 1.52 shots on the field. So I think that's not bad. I drove the ball
Yes,
pretty well.
that's pretty good.
It's not bad. Approaches, I was losing 5.08 shots on the field. So that's where the
That's not
money is.
ideal. Mm,
It's not ideal, but it's not terrible. Like I was hitting my pro shots kind of like a five handicapper, really.
mm.
It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. Short game, I was losing 2.61 shots on the field.
Right.
Putting, putting, I gained 1.96 shots on
So,
scratch handicappers.
so putting still strength of your game.
Interestingly enough, yes, it is.
Mm. Which, massive turnaround. I know we've talked about it before, but massive turnaround that it continues to be the strength of your game given where you were a couple of months back.
Yes, it is remarkable for all of those reasons, which is probably why we're remarking on it right now. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the value of letting go of outcome thinking
Mm.
and stop thinking about the binary outcome of do I make it, do I miss it? Because that was what my problem was, and I was tensing up and I was leaving them short. Like I've always been able, not always, of probably the last 6 months at least, been able to roll the ball on the line that I choose to roll it. So my issues really is can I get the speed right and
Yep.
can I read the putt right in the first place?
Mm. Yeah,
Uh,
it's interesting because
it's
I'm
that
doing
simple.
a little bit of reading and listening at the moment as to uh, how a lot of the PGA Tour pros practice,
Mm,
and they're very focused on short putts, so they do a lot of short putt drills just to really nail sort of inside say 6 feet. However, then all the drills is about speed,
mm,
so they're not necessarily putting to a hole as such. It's all speed drills to
mm,
make sure that outside of that sort of 6 to 8 feet radius, that it's their speed control is where it needs to be. So yeah, I agree with where you are with your putting in that speed. And to be honest with you, I think that's probably why my putting has improved a lot as well because with and this is and I go back to my mental golf type and coming back to process, and this is where I think aim point has really helped me in that it's given me a process to follow.
mm,
So once I get the line of where I want to hit my putt, I forget about that, and then all I'm focused on is speed.
mm.
And my putting's improved out of sight since
Yeah.
then. And I'm actually holding a lot more longer putts because I've got my line. I don't need to worry about it anymore. So it's all about speed.
Mm. Makes all the difference. And I think the more you can break down those skills, because ultimately there's three skills that are imperative in putting. One is green reading, the other is speed control, and
Yep.
the third one is the ability to hit the center of the face and roll the ball on the line that you want to
Mm.
roll it on.
Yes.
And I think the more that you can break those three things apart in the process and focus only on one of them at a time,
Yes.
the easier it is to do.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Which is why I like to line the line up because I read the part, whether you read it with aim point, whether you read it with other methods, but then lining the line up, that's now locked and set and done. And that's what I'm going to try and hit the ball on. So I don't have to think about that anymore.
Mm. Mm. It's
And then the
it's
other thing that,
interesting. It's interesting that you say that talking about the line because I was listening to some of the commentary about Scotty Scheffler,
mm,
and because he used to putt with the line, and one of the things that he's done to really improve his putting is to get rid of it. So he now doesn't actually
yep,
putt with the line, and that's what I found because I remember us having the conversation, and I did
yep,
try it,
yep.
and I
Didn't
couldn't I
didn't
couldn't
like
get
it.
it to work. No, no, and I've never putted with the line. What I've always done is pick a spot, maybe a foot in front of my ball, and the way I figure is as long as I've got that spot, if that's aligned with my starting point, then if I roll it over that spot, that's I'm good. So I'm aligning myself to that spot of foot in front of the ball.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
So I find that that's significantly better than actually having a line on the ball. In fact, I just it sort of is a bit confusing to whether that's just
Yeah.
subconsciously what I'm used
Well,
to,
I
or
think everyone's different
yeah,
is the point. Like Cam Smith, for example, possibly one of the best putters in the world. He has a line on his ball, but he doesn't line that line up to the hole. He puts that at the back of the ball as if it's what the putter face is going to hit. Like
yeah,
it's
right,
so he's got it running, instead of north south in the direction of the putt, he's got it running east west. That he's going to place his putter face on that line, and
yeah, right, okay,
quite a few people do that as well. Some people actually use both. They have like a tee, and they'll go the line for the line of the putt, and
mm,
the tee is what is keeping the club face square, the putter face
yep,
square. I think it's different for everybody. What I would suggest is muck around with it and see what works for you.
yeah, for sure,
Personally, what really works for me is being able to have that line, because then what I actually focus on, and I think this is as much green reading it is as it is about actually then putting mechanics afterwards, and it gives me something to think about, because what I'm trying to do is to just make sure that I see that line rolling like seam up
mm,
the whole way across, because
yep,
then I know I've struck it square.
yep,
And then I think what that's doing is it's giving my brain something to do rather than worrying about whether or not I make the putt.
yes,
And I think that's the bit for me that helps.
mm,
It's just a bit of an aside, but I personally find it good. But like you, as you say, for other people, they don't like it because they're a bit more feel based on the read of the putt. I actually like to go, no, I've done that. I've done the putt reading, the green reading. I can now not worry about that. I don't have
yeah,
to worry about the line, and I'm just going to step up and hit that
yeah.
putt in that direction.
Yeah, and look,
So
I think that's a good thing, and I think that everyone just needs to, yeah, just have a bit of a play around with a few different techniques, and maybe listen to some of and I know some of the commentators waffle on a little bit, but if you sift through some of, the waffle, there's actually a couple of little points that I've picked up that I think are really relevant to being able to implement into my game, or to my practice sessions that are really relevant.
mm,
And certainly, I completely understand where Scotty Scheffler's coming from, because I found that line to be quite confusing. Of course, my focus is more just about feeling the speed. I'm not worried about where my ball is lined up to, or where my starting point is, because I've already taken care of that.
yeah,
So for me,
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's just all about the putter head, and feeling the putter head, and feeling how what speed I want the putter head to be coming through at for the length of putt that I have.
I think that's all fair. I think in Scotty Scheffler's situation, because Scotty and I go way back and sleep we chat about this stuff quite regularly. I think he is probably trying to get out of the mechanics and out of the head and get
Yeah.
athletic and just reactive over the putts,
Mm.
and trust his feel.
Yeah.
And therefore moving away from a line or any of those sorts of things, which are probably leaning a little bit more mechanical. I
Mm.
think that makes total sense for someone like Scotty. As I say,
Yeah.
for me, I like it. Whether or not I will continue to like it in a couple of years' time, who's to know?
Yep.
Because these things change, and what works for you
Mm.
now might not be the same thing that works for you in 3 months, 6 months, 2 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Because putting's just so personal. It's not,
Mm.
yes, mechanics matters to an extent, but there's so many different ways of executing the putting stroke.
Yep.
If it was just one way that was the best way of doing it, everyone would do it. But
Yeah, for sure. Mm.
it's definitely not the case.
Mm. Mm. I do find it interesting though that Scotty Scheffler's moved to the mallet putter.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving away, and I'm not sure what he was using before. It might have been, was it sort of like a Scotty Cameron or
I don't know if it was a Scotty. It might have been, but it was definitely that style. Like that
yeah,
anti head. Yeah.
yes, yep, yep. But he's moved to the mallet putter, which has seems to have helped a lot in keeping the club face square. Because that
I
and
totally
that
agree with that. Like I
yeah,
had to do that because I struggled to keep, the more blade style putter head
mm,
square.
yeah.
Um,
And
I
that's one of the
totally
things
get that.
that they were talking about in the lead up to the Masters, because apparently last year there was quite a heated discussion between Scotty Scheffler and his putting coach about his putter, in that he
Yes.
just felt as though he couldn't keep the club face square.
Yeah.
Whereas now with the mallet headed putter,
Mm.
he just seems to be able to keep that square, which obviously
Mm.
shows in his putting stats.
Yeah, and again, it's a visual cue that makes you probably feel a little bit more comfortable that you're keeping it square, and you can kind of see it move back and through a
Mm.
little bit better sometimes. And I guess there's a stability factor as well to that larger head size. I mean, Brian Harmon probably takes it to the extreme, which his putter to me looks like a massive barbecue hot plate on the end of the
Yep.
stick.
Mm.
I don't think I'd be able to putt with that. Like it feels like it's just enormous.
Well, I also
But
saw if you have a look at Adam Scott's
his lab
Broomy.
putter.
Well, no, but before the lab, the one that he won the Masters
Oh
with,
yes,
like that
that
had a
was
similar head to.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It was
I can't
massive.
remember the name of it, but I think I, it might have even, but that might have even been the precursor to the lab.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what it was, but certainly I have actually had a look at a lab putter, and they do look pretty good. I must admit, I haven't looked at the Broomy. They're only the short putters, but they do look really really good.
Yeah,
So
and
I'd be quite interested.
until you see the price tag, that's when they don't look
Well,
as
it's
good.
it's interesting because again, I was listening to another commentator, talking, and you look at drivers these days. I mean, drivers are, some drivers are upwards, well, over $1,000, and people, will spend that amount of money without blinking an eye. Whereas putting, it's what, 40% of the game. Yet,
The
a lot of
difference
people
though.
stinge out and go, oh no, I don't want to spend too much money on a putter.
No, no, no. The difference, and this is a critical difference, is that you generally, on average, you'll hit your putter about 4 to 6 feet, whereas you'll hit your driver, yeah, 280 to 300 meters. So, in terms of distance use, you're using your driver far more than your putter.
Yeah, but it's the 3 4 footer or even a 3 4 incher is the same.
Not the point.
Yeah, but you still need, and you look at the difference between Scotty Scheffler where he was with his previous putter to where he is now.
Mm.
I think getting the right putter that suits you as an individual is just as important,
Look,
if not more
totally,
important than
totally
a driver.
logical getting the right putter, but you know, how do you justify the technology for piffing a ball 6 feet versus the technology for hitting one 300 meters?
Well, if you read about lab putters, apparently the ability to control and keep a stable face is like there's a fair bit of R&D that's gone into that club. So
Marketing
that's where
spin.
that is it.
No, it's not. And we're not disparaging lab putters or any other putter manufacturer. I'm just merely saying that it feels more attractive to spend money on a club that you're smoking 300 meters than it does on a club that you're just knocking it around on the green.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Feels
and
more
there's
attractive.
there's no question it's more attractive, but what do you want to be? Do you want to be more attractive on a golf course, or do you want to be able to put a score together?
As the great man, what was his name? Famous supermodel, once said, Derek Zoolander, his name was, once said, is there anything more important in life than being really, really good looking? Um,
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on your perspective.
yeah. We've now quoted Derek Zoolander as well. That's good. We'll add that to the list anyway. That's
Yeah,
usually your job. I know
it
what
is.
I'm
It
doing it.
is. Mm.
So I mean, look, yes, I have heard as well of aftermarket shafts to go in putters. Do a shaft
Yes.
fitting for your putter, which is interesting.
Mm.
Obviously, I mean, there's a big thing. I don't know how into the ins and outs of putters that you are, but I'm sure you'd be aware of, like the difference between your face balance or toe hang
Yep.
um, putters for depending on how much arc you've got in your putting stroke. That's a really
Yes.
interesting one. That's something a lot of people really haven't even delved into. Like, is your putting stroke a straight back and through? Which point you want a face balance putter, um, or
Well,
if you've
that's where
got it,
the mallet style really comes in, is if you're straight back and through,
not
which obviously,
necessarily, not necessarily, Andy Walker. You can get mallet putters that have toe hang, which are
mm,
designed for an arced putting stroke. You can. It's actually more to do with the hosel of the putter and how that joins the putter head without getting into the ins and outs of it. But like, your center shaft,
yep.
we go straight in the middle, that'll be a straight back and through.
Mm,
Whereas often the plumber's neck is for a bit of an arced stroke. Um, but again, it all depends on the way that the shaft interacts with the club head. But you
yeah.
can get a mallet for an arced stroke.
Mm, interesting.
For anyone out there that doesn't know, try this. Find the center of gravity on your putter shaft and balance your putter on your finger. And if the face points to the sky, parallel with your finger, it's face balanced. But if the toe hangs down towards the ground, it's, as the name would suggest, toe hang.
Mm,
And the toe hang is suitable for a more of an arced putting stroke. So you would open the face on the backswing and
yep.
close the gate through
Mm,
impact. And there's degrees of toe hang. You might have a tiny little bit for a slight arc. You might have a very heavy toe hang for a very archy, whip it inside and whip it back around type putting stroke.
yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So
Well, I mean,
that's
my B90, the old thing B90 that I'm still using,
B90. Wow.
yeah, that is a face balanced
Mm,
putter, and I've always, gone towards a face balanced putter. I find that to be, yeah, the most beneficial for my game.
mm. Yeah. I've gone towards a face balance. I'm actually questioning it at the
Yeah, right.
moment.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if maybe I should have a teeny tiny little bit of toe hang.
Mm,
Who's to know?
mm. Maybe you should get a putter fitting.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
Mm.
Wedge fitting, ball fitting. Topic for another episode, anymore,
Yes, it is. It is.
because I think we're getting to about that time.
We are.
Um, Anything else that you wanted to add before we move on? We talked about, actually, we did mention there's potentially something a little bit to do with future tournaments, perhaps. I
Yes, yeah.
may
Look,
want to have.
I was doing a little bit of research because I know that our whole goal is to get into the New South Wales Senior Amateur.
Mm,
We're not just get into it, but actually
win it.
perform. Yeah. Well, I mean, winning it is obviously a stretch goal, but certainly to perform well
Apparently, it's a goal you got
in
to
it.
write down, Andy Walker.
Apparently so. Apparently so. You shouldn't pussyfoot around with
No
it.
pussyfooting this show.
But it's interesting because and I actually watched a little bit of it this particular tournament last year because I visited the club and that's the New South Wales Senior Open. So not the Senior Amateur, the
Then you're open.
Senior
So this is
Open.
this is where you got professionals in
So
this.
Peter Lonard,
Yeah,
Peter O'Malley,
yeah,
these pretty big names in Australian golf do play in it. In fact, David McClelland played in the
he
New
did.
South Wales Senior Open last year.
He
Missed the
did.
cut,
He did.
but yeah, he did play in it down at Thurgoona Country Club,
Ooh,
and I did
nice.
take a trip down to Thurgoona last year. It might have been August last
Mm,
year, and had around there. It's really good spot. Like if you're sort of down that way in the Albury region along the Murray, Thurgoona, definitely go and have a trip to Thurgoona Country Club because I mean I really rate it, and it's yeah, obviously I played well there, which obviously helps. But yeah,
Mm,
really, really good, good golf club. Good roast of a Saturday night as well. I sat
nice.
down, had a roast dinner,
Nice.
looking at whether it's tossing up whether I do the palmy or maybe a schnitty,
Ooh,
and saw
ooh.
the roast there and just went, you know what, I'm having the roast, and it was good. It was a winner.
Good veggies, roast
Yeah,
potatoes. Yeah.
yeah, and I had a nice
Carrots. Did they
glass
roast the
of
carrots as well?
yeah, 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 and a
Quite
nice gravy. Yeah, it's
like a
very
honey
very good.
glazed roast
Mm.
carrot. It's always nice.
Yeah, and went quite well with a glass of
With a
pepper jack
Chardonnay.
Shiraz.
Oh, Shiraz, nice.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
the pepper
glad you
jack
didn't say
Shiraz.
Chardonnay
Don't
because that
don't
would have
mind that.
upset me.
Yeah,
Pepper Jack
no,
Shiraz,
I'm
that's good. Pepper Jack do some
I'm
good
I'm not a
beer.
Chardonnay dude.
No,
I'm just not.
no,
I'm
no,
a
not
Shiraz
buttery
guy.
enough. Speaking of Pepper Jack, Andy Walker digression, but wonderful people at Pepper Jack. If you would like to get on board the Missing Links Golf Show, please drop us a line. We'd be more than happy to do some product reviews for you.
Yes, yeah, can't disagree with that. But
Mm.
anyway, back to the point of what I was going down the line of is the New South Wales Senior Open. What I've found is that there are, and I've actually found five events throughout the New South Wales Senior Amateur calendar,
Ooh.
which, of course, the New South Wales Senior Open being a PGA event is over 50.
Mm.
And New South Wales senior amateur events, a lot of them are over 50.
Mm.
So I qualify for those events.
You
And there's a
do.
number of these events that the top two scratch
Ooh,
scores on the day get
qualify.
qualification to the New South Wales Senior Open. So, New South Wales Senior Open, Friday, the 1st of November to Sunday, the 3rd of November. I've
Mm.
got, and I probably can't do the first one, but
Shame.
I reckon I've got four chances after that that I'm looking at where I can give it a crack
Mm.
and potentially, if I
Can you
make the top
imagine?
two in any of those events, I get qualification to the New South Wales Senior Open at Thurgoona. So I've only just hadn't even really entered my head until earlier this week when I was just having a look at some of the events and I saw, New South Wales Senior Open qualifier. And I went, what's that? So then I started to do a bit of looking and went,
Yeah, you know.
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, you know.
So that's certainly a goal not to be pussyfooting around with, and I'll have
Mm.
to write it
Write it
down.
down. Write it
Mm,
down. We need more detail. We absolutely need to hear more about this, and that is exciting. I'd
yeah.
like to see that happen. Um, we also probably need another Varden event for the pair of us to look into, and not too far in the distant future.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I mean, we're looking when we're talking about the Mollymook Open, but that's not until August, and
mm,
that was actually the reason why I was looking through the calendar just to see if there's something that we could play in, and I couldn't really see anything that would suit both of us. Um,
is that because I'm so young?
yes,
Yeah,
that is exactly right, Junior.
shame. Yeah,
Mm.
it's all right. Getting there. Definitely getting there.
You're not far away.
Not far. And in fairness, there are days when I feel like I could easily qualify for one of the seniors events, but that
But
is a separate
that's a
issue.
different topic.
Yeah, that is a separate issue for another day.
Yeah.
But that's exciting, Andy Walker. I think that probably brings us pretty close to the end of this episode.
Mm.
We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
and yeah, there's look, April. It's been some reasonable golf thus far.
I think we've both got another comp round before the end of the month
Looks
due,
that
so
way.
it's
Looks
going to
that way.
be
It's game on.
interesting. I think maybe I've got a slender lead in the leaderboard for April, but yeah, anything can
Slender. You've
happen.
got you've got something like 100% differential percentage. I have to shoot a scratch round to tie. Um. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
fine. We can.
that's that sounds like a you issue.
Well, it is clearly it is. Absolutely, it is. Maybe I need a putter fitting. We'll deal with it. We can purchase our way to success. no doubt about that. But
Mm.
Andy Walker, another fantastic episode. There's a lot in there. I think if you dig through it, there's probably at least one kernel of wisdom to be found at some point.
So somewhere, what wading
Um,
through the tangents,
it's
but
it,
anyway,
yeah. Oh,
it'll be
so
there
many,
somewhere.
so many. It feels a little bit like panning for gold. There's a whole lot that you've got to get through before you get to just that tiny little fleck,
Mm.
that the kids bring home from Hill End or something like that. Anyway, find us out there. We are on, where are we, Andy Walker? We're on Facebook, I believe.
We are on Facebook. We're on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yep. The Missing Links Golf Show. You should find us in a number of places. TML Golf Show on X. Is it feeling any better yet to say X rather than Twitter?
No,
No, didn't think so. Find us there. You can email us, missinglinksgolfshow@gmail.com. Please do. It'd be great to hear from you, Pilgrims.
yeah, absolutely.
Particularly, I've noticed we're getting following in Austria, Andy
Austria,
Walker.
are we?
Austria. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I know. And Adelaide. I feel like our star is rising in Adelaide. We've had some
Adelaide,
Adelaide
okay.
listeners for quite some time. It's
Great
growing.
place, Adelaide.
It
Love
is.
Adelaide.
I'm a massive fan. Can't wait to get down there. We
Yeah.
won't be there for the live event this year, unfortunately.
No.
We had talked about it, but we won't be getting down there for that. But I really do actually want to organise an event down in Adelaide at some
Mm.
point. Maybe coincide with a little bit of wine tasting in the Barossa or McLaren Vale.
Potentially.
That
Potentially.
could happen.
Mm.
Stay tuned, Adelaideans. We're on our way. No time frame given, but we're on our way.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Austria, though. Austria.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure where in Austria, but there's a few
How,
pilgrims.
how many countries then are we in? Is that 14 now?
It is, I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 14 countries we're now. Because India, we picked up India as well, Andy Walker,
We did pick up India.
in Indian pilgrims. And I literally think that that was straight off the back of all of our discussion about acceptance and meditation.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think that's what got us over the line.
Potentially.
So,
Potentially.
to any of our Indian pilgrims, maybe get in contact. Let us know, is that what's been floating your boat, or has that got absolutely nothing to do with it? And is it more to
Mm.
do with my illustrious previous cricket career? Who's
Potentially.
to know? Who's to know?
Potentially. Well, we have had a couple of cricket references. I mean, the Richie episode. I
Oh,
mean, that was there.
that
That potentially could
that
have
could have
been
been
the
it.
trigger for it.
That
Yeah.
could have been it. That could have been
Yeah.
it. I have not looked. But at the same time, pretty decent golf courses in India and some decent players starting to make their way on the pro circuit. So
Yeah, certainly
maybe it's a
it's a
growing
growing
market.
sport. It's a
Yeah,
growing sport in India. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to rival cricket. I
unlikely.
think that's a given cricket is almost a religion over there. But certainly golf is it's a growing sport and just, a massive potential for the Indian market to grow.
It is. Yes, 14 countries,
Wow.
Andy Walker, that we are live, semi-live into. Indonesia was another one. Picked up
All right.
Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Indonesia. And would you like to know how many cities allegedly that we
Yes.
are
I
going
would
into?
actually.
44 different cities
44.
around the world in 14 different countries.
Wow. Okay.
Quite something.
Hmm. Nice.
Klagenfurt, Austria.
I'm going to have to Google that.
Klagenfurt.
Hmm.
Bengaluru in India is one. Yeah, some interesting places.
Nice. Nice.
Denpasar in Bali. Actually, Bali
Oh, Bali. Okay.
was
That's
the
that's potentially
Indonesian.
an expat, you reckon?
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, Denpasar. Also got Bangkok. So
Yeah. I
there you go.
reckon that there's a fair chance that that's potentially an expat or a traveler.
How do you explain Frankfurt in Germany?
Yeah, I can't explain that. I'm not convinced that that's an expat or a traveler.
It's quite a few. It's quite a few popping up from Frankfurt, actually.
Mm.
Anyway, we could go on.
We could. We've got to end the show at some stage.
And I'm not ruling it out.
Mm.
But anyway, to all you pilgrims out there, wherever you may be from, tell us something about where you're from, what got you onto the show, what you like about it. Not so much about what you don't like about it, probably more focus on what you like about it. Egos are fragile. And we, yeah, look forward to hearing more from you. So, Andy Walker, any final thoughts?
Well, I just hope everyone has a great week, great golfing week,
Mm.
and yeah, rock out, Pilgrims.